I sit in crowded rooms, but no one sits close enough to touch the emptiness inside me. The loneliness is louder when surrounded by people who don't really care to know me. I can laugh with them all night, but I return home to silence that mirrors my soul. My smile is just camouflage. Behind it lives a loneliness no one here even suspects. I am present in their stories, but absent in their hearts, and that absence is suffocating. Surrounded by chatter, I realize my heart is still begging for a voice that feels like home. Their presence fills the room, but none of them fill the void inside my chest. I ache for someone to hear my silence, but all they notice is my polite laughter. Loneliness blooms strongest when you are surrounded by those who only know your surface. I am the quiet storm in a crowded sky, and no one notices my thunder. The room vibrates with voices, yet not one voice heals. Drift further away from everyone around me. They see me standing, they hear me speaking, but they don't feel the battles I'm fighting. Being in a crowd makes me realize how painfully disconnected my heart has become. I long for one soul who sees me, but instead I fade among countless shadows. Their words skim the surface of me, never touching the ocean of loneliness underneath. I crave a connection so deep it silences the noise around me, yet none arrives. My loneliness hides behind every laugh I give them, yet no one asks if it's real. 1,000 conversations surround me, but not one reaches the corners of my broken heart. Even in this crowd, I'm still the only one holding the weight of my silence. The more they surround me, the more invisible I feel, as though I'd become transparent. I feel like a stranger at my own table, pretending to belong where I do not. Their eyes glance past me, but none linger long enough to see the truth in mine. I wonder if anyone notices how often my laughter hides the tears I swallow. I am here, but I am not here. Lost in loneliness, while surrounded by bodies. Their company feels like distance wrapped in noise, never touching the ache I carry. The weight of my solitude grows heavier in the presence of those who don't understand. I laugh alone, but inside I am screaming for someone to hear me. Surrounded yet untouched, heard yet not felt, seen yet completely unseen, that is my reality. They ask me how I am, but they don't wait long enough for the truth. My loneliness grows sharper when I realize no one here knows my unspoken fears. 1,000 faces surround me, yet none hold the warmth my soul aches for. In the noise, I hear my silence echoing louder than ever before. They fill the space around me, but no one fills the hollowness inside me. I exist in their world, but my heart lives in an empty one of its own. Loneliness clings to me even in company, like a shadow that refuses to leave. They see my presence, but none feel my absence. Even when I am right here, I ache for a single person who truly sees me, but find only shallow glances. In their laughter, my loneliness grows more noticeable, reminding me I don't belong. They celebrate, they talk, they shine, while I remain the ghost quietly standing beside them. A crowd of people cannot quiet the voice of loneliness that lives in my chest. I crave a bond strong enough to break through the silence surrounding me. I stand among them, but my soul feels like it's miles away. Their attention grazes me, but never reaches the places that truly need healing. I've never felt so surrounded, yet so deeply alone, all at the same time. My loneliness laughs with me, eats with me, and walks with me, always unnoticed by others. They know I smile, but none know the grief buried behind it. A room full of people cannot warm the cold that lives inside my heart. I am surrounded by voices, but my soul still whispers in isolation. Loneliness is not about being alone, but being unseen where you most want to be seen. Their eyes meet mine, but they never linger long enough to know me. I want to tell someone the truth of my heart, but I fear they won't care. I sit here quietly, waiting for someone to notice the storm I'm hiding inside. The more they surround me, the lonelier I feel, as if I don't belong anywhere. My loneliness wears a mask so convincing. They think I'm happy. They chatter endlessly, but none of it touches the silence inside my chest. My heart feels like an abandoned house in the middle of a crowded city. I am living proof that being surrounded doesn't protect you from being alone. They love my presence, but none love my essence, and that makes all the difference. Even here, among them, I remain a silent universe no one dares to explore. Surrounded by countless voices, I realize not one of them speaks the language of my soul. My loneliness deepens when I realize none of these people truly know who I am inside. I walk among them, yet I feel like a ghost floating through a world that doesn't see me. Even their laughter feels distant, like echoes in a canyon where I stand utterly alone. The faces around me blur into nothingness, because none of them belong to the heart I seek. I'm here in body, but my spirit feels abandoned in the silence they cannot touch. I ache for someone who asks the questions that matter, not the ones that pass time. My loneliness feels heavier when I realize how replaceable I am to everyone here. They speak to me, but none hear the cracks hidden in my trembling voice. I stand among them, but none notice the sadness carved deeply into my silence. I laugh in their company, but inside my soul still weeps for a connection that never comes. The cruelest part is knowing I am surrounded yet still unreachable in the ways that matter. Loneliness grows sharpest when the room is filled with people who don't see your pain. Their hands touch mine, but none touch the wounds I buried beneath my skin. I sit among them, but my thoughts wander to a place no one can follow. Their joy surrounds me, but my heart remains untouched, as if wrapped in glass. The loneliness gnaws deeper when I realize none of them truly care if I stay or go. I am here, but my spirit feels lost in a place far beyond their reach. Even in the middle of a crowd, I feel the silence of being misunderstood. My loneliness doesn't scream. It whispers constantly, reminding me that no one here truly knows me. I search their faces, but not one reflects the aching emptiness inside my own. They look at me, but none linger long enough to truly see my soul. The room feels full, yet I'd never felt emptier within myself. I speak to them, but my words feel hollow, because none of them listen deeply. Surrounded by their laughter, my silence feels heavier, like chains above my heart. I wonder if anyone notices that my smiles never quite reach my eyes. They share stories, but none invite me to share the truths I keep buried. My loneliness is a shadow that follows me even into the brightest, most crowded places. I feel like a stranger wearing my own skin, invisible to everyone standing next to me. The noise drowns the room. Yet I am still alone with the echoes of my silence. I crave someone who understands without words, but all I find are shallow conversations. My presence is acknowledged, but my essence is forgotten, and that is the loneliest part. I am surrounded by many, yet my heart aches for the presence of just one. Their voices fill the air, but none fill the empty places within me. I sit at the table, yet I feel like an outsider in my own life. My loneliness hides behind laughter, and no one bothers to ask if it's real. They smile at me, but none reach into the parts of me that need healing. I ache for someone to notice the silence between my words, but no one does. A room full of people cannot chase away the emptiness clinging to my soul. They see my surface, but none dive deep enough to know my storms. I'm a shadow among their light, unseen even when standing right beside them. Their presence feels like distance dressed as closeness, and it breaks me quietly. The loneliness grows louder every time I realize no one asks how I truly feel. I stand among them, but my soul feels like a foreigner in their world. Their laughter feels like glass breaking inside me, sharp reminders of the joy I lack. They talk endlessly, but no one speaks the language of my aching silence. Surrounded as I am, I still feel like a hollow vessel drifting through the noise. They look through me, not at me. And that is the cruelest kind of invisibility. I long for just one gaze that sees me beyond the mask I wear. In their presence, my absence feels more real than ever before. They ask shallow questions, and I answer with shallow smiles, hiding the depth of my despair. I am present in their world, but absent in their hearts, and that is loneliness defined. My silence is a desperate cry, but no one here has ears to hear it. I ache for one hand that reaches for me in understanding, but find none. They laugh beside me, while I quietly crumble inside, unnoticed. I am here, but not home, and the truth burns quietly within me. Their company is noise. Even when I speak, my words are swallowed by the emptiness between us. Surrounded by bodies, I still feel like a soul wandering alone in the dark. My loneliness whispers louder than their laughter, reminding me I don't belong anywhere. I stand in a room filled with laughter, yet my heart aches with the silence. No one seems to hear. Surrounded by countless voices, I realize none of them truly speak to the emptiness inside me. The hardest loneliness isn't when I'm alone. It's when I'm invisible among those who claim to see me. A crowd can't cure solitude when your soul aches for someone who understands without explanation. I sit among people who know my name, but not who know my scars. And that's the loneliest truth. They smile at me, they talk to me, yet none of them touch the place where my soul hides in silence. I'm drowning in a sea of faces, but not what has thrown me a lifeline of true understanding. Being surrounded means nothing when no one can hear the language of your broken heart. It's terrifying how you can be seen by so many eyes, but not truly noticed by a single soul. My heart aches with conversations I never speak, while the noise around me feels unbearably empty. The irony is cruel. The louder the room, the quieter my soul feels within it. I laugh on the outside, yet my heart is screaming silently for someone to really see me. Among so many people, I've never felt so unseen, as if I'm fading into the background of my own life. Loneliness doesn't come from emptiness. It comes from standing in a crowd and realizing you don't belong. I am the ghost haunting my own life, present in body, but unseen in spirit. Their words wash over me like shallow waves, but none reach the depths where my pain lives. The cruelest thing is that I am surrounded by voices, yet none are calling my name with love. Sometimes I wonder if I disappeared, would anyone in this crowd even notice the silence I leave behind? People sit next to me, but my soul still aches for a connection deeper than casual small talk. In the middle of countless faces, my loneliness feels like the only thing that truly embraces me. I look around, and everyone belongs to someone, yet I remain an island among oceans. My loneliness grows louder in crowds because it reminds me how disconnected I really am. There are people everywhere, yet none who ask the questions that matter, none who wait for real answers. I laugh at their jokes, but inside I'm crying, hoping someone sees past the mask I wear. To be surrounded is not to be loved. To be loved is to be understood in silence. Everyone's talking, but no one is listening, not in the way my aching soul craves. I stand among them, but my heart beats in a rhythm no one else can hear. My loneliness is sharpest when their voices blur together, none cutting through to reach me. I am a shadow in plain sight, fading into the noise of the crowd that doesn't see me. They don't realize that sometimes silence can be louder than every word spoken in a room. Loneliness is not the absence of people. It's the absence of connection that makes you feel alive. I can hear them all, yet none of them speak to the aching emptiness I carry. My heart feels like a locked room in a house full of people, and no one has the key. I sit among their laughter, but I long for someone who listens to my quiet sobs. Loneliness grows in the middle of noise, when the soul realizes it belongs nowhere at all. I feel invisible in their presence, as though I'm only a body, not a story worth hearing. My silence is screaming for someone to understand, yet no one even notices its sound. A crowd can amplify loneliness because it shows you just how little you truly belong. They touch my hand, but never my soul. My heart aches because being surrounded reminds me how deeply alone I really am. I search their eyes for a reflection of my pain, but all I find is distance. The loneliest moments happen when you realize not a single person here would notice your absence. Their words float around me like air, yet I suffocate from their weight of feeling unseen. Even in company, I feel like an abandoned soul wandering through endless shadows. Look, it's deafening when laughter surrounds you, but none of it belongs to you. I'd never felt more alone than when pretending to fit in among people who don't see me. The world moves around me, yet I feel like a ghost stuck in between the living. Their joy only sharpens the ache of my solitude, reminding me what I do not have. Surrounded but untouched, seen but invisible, heard but never truly listened to. That's the weight I carry. I ache for one person who understands, but instead I drown in 1,000 empty voices. The crowd keeps me company, yet none of them cure the loneliness eating me alive. I want to scream for connection, but I only whisper to myself in the silence within. I sit among them, smiling, while my heart quietly breaks for someone who truly cares. Being alone in a crowd is worse than being alone in silence. Because it shows the truth, I laugh with them, but the laughter never reaches the hollow places inside me.